Hello and welcome to PlayStation Racer. My name is Mitchell Morgan and you'll notice that I'm not wearing one of my usual racing shirts today. I have the Mr. Grumpy mug in hand, well I did a moment ago, put it down now, and I'm catching up on Adrian Newey's book before starting work. This is a brilliant read for anybody that is interested in Formula One and just racing cars in general. It's a brilliant read. But in this video, I want to talk for a few minutes about the disaster that was last night's racing session, the lessons to be learned, and the absolute worst thing that you can do when sim racing and racing on Gran Turismo specifically. So it finally happened. I let myself get drawn into the frustrations of Gran Turismo 7, and I did the worst thing that you can do on the game. I lost my head and I rage quit. I had my worst night of racing for just about every reason, and this resulted in me doing something that I said that I would never do. I rage quit. And let me explain why. Things have been going so well on the live streams over the last couple of weeks. People have been really engaging on the live streams. The performance of my races has been pretty good. We've got a few new members and it's been great. The subscriber count has been coming up. Everything had been going well. And as I said, I've had some great evenings of racing, and with the help of people watching me live, I'd pulled myself up to a high B driver rating and the highest rating that I've ever had on Gran Turismo. However, the racing was getting tougher and I was getting matched with A-rated drivers and mostly holding my own until last night when it all changed. Following some great racing, last night's live stream was a disaster from a racing point of view. All I wanted to do was to have some clean races and try to increase my DR rating a little bit more and get a little bit closer to that all elusive A rating. However, I let myself get drawn into the silliness and I let myself get riled by one or two genuine mistakes that wrecked my races. This was all down to the silliness of other drivers. Well, was it? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Although, if you watch the live stream, you'll think that I thought that. What I learned is moving into the higher rankings of the B driver rating class, you just have to step up your game. You have to be more consistent. You have to be quicker. And I was just not good enough on the nights, and I should have quit racing, but I didn't. I blindly carried on and on and on. My mindset changed when I was in a really good place mentally and pushing for a win. On one particular race, I pulled off a superb move into the last corner at Fuji, and that was probably my best ever move playing online. It was clean, it was tidy, I made up a fair number of places, and I felt great. I felt great for about 10 seconds before bang, I got punted around. It was so unexpected and race defying, and that even people on my live stream wanted to see the replay and to understand what on earth had happened. It was purely a terrible rejoin by a car that had gone off, and they collected me and another car and it ended our races. Yes, I let that one incident define my whole evening of racing. I let that one incident get under my skin, and from there on I became more and more desperate to have a decent win and to claw back and improve my DR rating. As the session progressed, I then began to get into the tussles and tangles with other racers. Black Ninja happened to be one car that I got into a number of tangles with, and at one point I'm pretty sure that Black Ninja was simply toying with me. That driver had watched, learned and knew where I was strong around the track, and more importantly where I was weak. Race after race, he or she exploited my weaknesses and punished me with moves through corners which involved a little bit of door banging and pushing, but which, to be fair, was okay in my mind. Those moves were okay. I was just not learning from them. I was just not defending and taking adequate defensive lines and closing the door more firmly, more quickly. Yes, these were all tough lessons to learn, but I was not learning the lessons whilst racing. I should have stopped, but I didn't. Black Ninja was the better driver, both in driving skill and the ability to watch and pick their moments for the overtake, elbows out or not. It was just hard, fair racing. And I just let it get under my skin. What I should have done is I should have stopped racing. I should have taken time out to save and watch the replays to learn how and where they were able to exploit my weaknesses, and then to learn what I needed to do to address those weaknesses and to close the door. The result was that I was getting more and more tired and fatigued, both physically and mentally. In the end, I simply let all of these silly little errors get under my skin, and at the very end of the live stream, I lost my head, I rammed the other car, and I rage quit. It was all very childish and all very unnecessary. Worse still, it left me hugely, hugely disappointed in myself. So what lessons did I learn from this awful racing session? What I learned was, number one, if you come up against a rival car that is consistently exploiting your mistakes, finish your current race and then stop racing. Save the replays and study them hard. Look to see where you are making mistakes and letting that other car in. Look to see where and how you can limit those mistakes and make it harder for the other car to make those moves. Drop out of physical races for the rest of that session, or at least until you can balance things in your head and come back a better, cleaner and more consistent racer. Maybe just put on a ghost and spend some time qualifying, or what I should have done is to take a step away from the game and do something else, like in that case, go to bed. Don't just carry on blindly. It will only end up one way, you can be sure of that, and it's not good. The second lesson is a lesson that I know, and that got me even more frustrated, and that is don't race for too long. I've said this before, but I let myself get drawn into wanting that one last decent race, and it never came. I therefore ended up racing for twice the time that I know that I should race for. Just don't let yourself get drawn into the game in that way. Know your limits. Mine is around 2 hours of hard racing. We did 4 hours yesterday. So taking last night's as an example, I raced for too long in too difficult conditions and fatigue set in. That fatigue led to mistakes on my part, and I was blaming other drivers. Those mistakes led to desperation. That desperation led to more race time. More race time led to more fatigue, and the cycle continued. Sim racing should be fun, it should be challenging, it should be rewarding. If this is not the case, don't let the game get to you. Don't carry on regardless and just stop. Some wise person on my live stream last night just put up the word in the chat, stop. Why did I not pay attention? Just don't do it. It really is the worst thing that you can do on Gran Turismo or any racing sim. To see how I let that session get to me and just let it get inside my head, head over to my 14th of September, the 2023 live stream, and you'll see all of this in action. It was not my finest hour by any stretch of the imagination, and this video I've put together as a reminder to me, yes, Mitchell Morgan, listen and learn. This is a video for me to reflect on. When things are going wrong, I'll look at this video and I will try and heed this advice. Anyway, thanks ever so much for watching, and I look forward to a better evening of racing very, very soon. For now, look after yourselves, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye-bye.